You're listening to On the Air Sickle.
Tonight, the season finale is here. Saturday, August 19th, 2023. A discussion on sickle cell and mental health. Episode 8, Men's Roundtable.
Hello, everybody. What's on? You're listening to the show that airs the good, the bad, the ugly in the name of awareness and advocacy. I'm your host, OD. Thanks for tuning in. It has truly been such a fantastic ride, and we are here at the end, the season finale. We have heard the stories of men and women who deal with sickle cell and have invited us to sit down with them and hear their stories live on the air. It is truly an honor to bring those stories to you all, and this is just the beginning. There are so many story warriors who simply want to get their stories heard, and this is the platform for it. Warriors who wish to share their experiences, to find answers, to share knowledge. Warriors who seek to impact the world in more ways than one. Warriors who just simply are more than just their diagnosis. This is truly On the Air Sickle. We started this journey back in May, and I had no idea that it would become such an impactful operation. Gaining over 100 Facebook followers in less than 30 days. We are still growing, we are still gaining, and we are still sharing information with friends and warriors alike. Tonight, we have some brothers here on the air that have bonded with me over the last few weeks. There's no planned agenda for this discussion outside of talking about the impact of sickle cell on our mental health. This is the Men's Roundtable. I want to bring on my guests at this time. Please welcome Amari Sanders, Demetrius Wyant, and Lathan Singleton. You are live on the air. What's up, brothers? How are y'all?
What's going on, man? All is well. How you doing today?
It's a pleasure.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Man, listen, thank you so much for joining the show. Listen, I when I first got to meet you guys, I just felt like, it was so needed, right? We connected over a common diagnosis, sickle cell, but like I said in my introduction, we're so much more than just our disease, our diagnosis, right? We're business owners, we are medical professionals, we're dreamers, we have goals, we have visions, we're men with purpose, and I just feel like it's necessary for brothers to come together to talk about our mental health in this capacity, because a lot of people don't understand what we go through, right? There are certain things that are different for people that deal with sickle cell that are male than those that deal with sickle cell that are female. And I want to do a show that hosts our ladies as well, because I want them to be able to talk too. But I just think that it's necessary for us to get together as men to really paint the picture. Hey, look, this is what we've been through. This is where I am, and this is where I'm going. So I want to start with Amari. Amari, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do for a profession, where you live at, what's going on with you, brother. Tell us your story.
For sure, man. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Omari. I'm 38 years old. I currently live in Orlando, Florida. And I'm in between. I used to do film for a living, but now that I'm getting older, it's getting kind of harder on my body. So I'm trying to, move into the cybersecurity area.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thanks for joining the show. Lathan
For sure.
Singleton, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? Tell us a little bit
What's
about you.
good, OD? Thank you for having me. My name is Lathan Singleton. I'm a community health worker living in Long Beach, California, originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Thanks for joining the show, Lathan. All right, Demetrius AR, the prophet. What's going on, brother? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, all is well. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Demetrius. I go by AR the Prophet. 36, sickle cell genotype SS. Living here in Orlando, Florida. My boy Amari. Shout out to my brother Amari. And yeah, man, it's a blessing to be here. I'm an artist. I'm an advocate, and I'm also a chef. So yeah, man, that's what I do in the name of sickle cell.
That's what's up. So listen, guys, I want to talk about what. So when I grew up, right, I used to think that I was the only one dealing with sickle cell, and it wasn't. I always heard that other people had sickle cell, but I never met them. So I want to go from the beginning for you guys. Like what was it for you that was like, man, I'm the only one going through, or if you felt that way, I'm the only one going through, and these are my experiences. Whoever wants to join, jump in.
And I started up. Man, I remember growing up feeling like I was the only one with sickle cell until I was 17. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa originally, and I felt like I was the only black kid that was sick and never went to no sickle cell camps, never had any support groups, and never had a family that we can, mirror from and, see what they was doing for treatment options and how they was living. So I always thought that I was the only one with sickle cell until I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Met one guy that had sickle cell while I was in the hospital. And from there, man, it just changed my whole perspective. So I battled.
Wow. Yeah, and how was that like during that time when before you said 17, before that time, what was your mindset like, dealing with the pain and everything?
Man, when I was a child, I always knew I was special. So the sickle cell, it always kind of put me at a level to where I had to, humble myself, pray more, and just take care of my body. I had to depend on a higher source of power. So I wasn't getting what I needed from the medical team, from the medical staff, and we really didn't have no type of education around sickle cell at that point when I was young. So anything that the doctors and the nurses were saying, we was just taking, firsthand for value, and stuck with that. So at that time, I had a lot of life of dependency, taking so many drugs that they were just giving me for my sickle cell because they didn't really have education and knowledge on what was going to be helping me. So it was stressful, man. It was draining. It was depressing, and man, I lived a life of taking a whole bunch of opioids and pharmaceuticals since I was 6 years old, man.
Wow. Lathan, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. What was it like for you? Growing up, knowing that or learning that you had sickle cell. What was the challenges that you faced?
Well, when it comes to my family, sickle cell is pretty known. I'm named after a previous Lathan who died of sickle cell. And my grandmother's youngest sister had sickle cell, and I got to see her in her older years. So even before I could fathom what a crisis could do for you, I saw what it did to her through the years. I had a context of just how your world can shut down before a crisis, before my world shut down as I got older, before I had to deal with those societal pressures and being isolated. I saw her go through it. So that's how I viewed sickle cell at the time, was through her. And when she passed away, it was just me going to school. I was playing football. I was doing all of that stuff, trying to be as normal as possible, trying to have as normal as a life as possible. Go into a crisis, don't tell anybody, be back in time for a game, be back in time for a big situation so no one doesn't notice you're gone that much. That was my upbringing for the most part.
Can you talk a little bit about how did that feel like pressure for you? I mean, don't tell anybody, you know, be back before the game starts. Like what was the impact for you?
There was no pressure because that's the only life I knew at that point. That was normal to me. There was no pressure. I felt like I had a tunnel vision. I had a identity at that time that I wanted to keep up, and that was the only way I knew how to do it while maintaining a disease.
Wow. Amari, let's get your perspective, bro. What's going on? Like how did how was your upbringing when it came to sickle cell?
So the first time I was kind of aware that I had sickle cell, I was born in New York. And every winter I would get pneumonia as a child, like clockwork. Like from the ages of 2 to about 10 years old, I would get pneumonia every year. That was when I realized, okay, no one else in my family has sickle cell that I know of. Of course, I don't know about going back further generations, but it's just me. So my family didn't really know about it. And a doctor recommended to my mom, she was like, hey, he has sickle cell. He's going to continue to get sick. I would recommend that you move to a warmer climate. So my mom decided at 10, she left her entire family, her friends, and she moved down here for me. I'm her only child. So that's when I was like, yeah, absolutely. That's when I was like, okay. And once I moved to Florida, things became a little bit better. I didn't get sick as much. But I didn't know anybody else with sickle cell. I didn't even like research it, so I didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
It wasn't until I got into my teens when things got a little bit worse, but I didn't know anybody else for a while with sickle cell.
Wow. It can feel pretty lonely, especially when you think you're the only one. And Amari, you were saying that you're the only child. For a while, I was the only child as well, and I just remember like I don't want this for any siblings. I don't want this for anyone, not even my worst enemy. Can you talk to us a little bit about little Omari? What was he? When he went through a pain crisis, he wound up being in the hospital. What was it like for him?
Whew, man. Man. I can't even explain the pain of sickle cell to anyone who's never experienced it. Like, man, just wires and tubes everywhere, and just feeling like you're alone by yourself. You know what I mean? Like clockwork, I would get sick, and I would always, my classmates would always, send me notes and send me letters. But it's a lonely thing, to not know how long you're going to be in the hospital, when you're going to be released. It can be a lonely thing. So that took a toll on my mental health for sure, and it took a toll on not just me, my family, my mom having to miss work, having to leave work early to come and get me, to come and take care of me, So it was a lot, and to be the only one in the family that's quote unquote sick, you could feel how people treat you different, and as a child, you just want to be treated the same as everybody else. The last thing you want to do is be ostracized because you're different. So I could always feel that, but you get used to it in a sense.
Yeah. Did any of you guys ever feel like you were sheltered? Like I felt like I was pretty sheltered. Because I kept getting sick. So my mom at the time was a single parent. She, Amari, you hit it, where she had to take days off of work, and then eventually days off from work was like, I can't stay here overnight with you. You have to talk for yourself. And I was young when she said that. But I felt like I just didn't know how to. I don't know if I was ready to advocate for myself. I really, until I became an adult, I really didn't know how to really fight and ask for what I wanted. How about y'all? What did y'all think?
For me, because my family already had 2 warriors before me, my grandmother and my mom were on it. So by 6 or 7, I already knew I had to talk to the doctors myself, had to talk to the nurses myself. And by maybe 10 to 12 range, whenever I'm going to the hospital, my mom's just dropping me off at the ER, making me walk to the inside the hospital. She's going to park the car. She'll be there, but she wants me to get all that stuff out the way. And then I'm talking to all the doctors. She don't care about how much pain I'm in. She don't care how drowsy I am, anything. You gotta hold your shield up in the hospital for sure. So she made it strong early.
Demetrius, I want to talk to you about us being strong. You know, what growing up, and you know, the disease process itself already puts you in a position where it's either, you know, fight or flight, right? You know, and you can't fly away, you got to fight. So I want you to talk about, you know, before you became an adult, what was the fight like for you? With tears and all, like, what was it like for you?
Very painful, man. Very painful. I'm talking about torturing pain, like traumatizing pain. Literally, man. It would be nice when I was a kid. I would try to stay up all night because I knew when I go to sleep, I have a sickle cell crisis. Like that was my whole mindset when I was from 8 to like 11. Like I was like, man, when I go to sleep, my body gonna start hurting. I'm gonna wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in pain. Have to wake people up in the house. Hey, I need to go to the hospital. I need to get rubbed down. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So, man, I had to become a fighter naturally. And I always say this, at birth, we come out of the womb with no choice. We have no choice. We have to learn how to fight for ourselves. We have to learn how to advocate for ourselves. Some people is quicker than others. Some people it's a little longer, you know, it takes a little longer. It might be in your adulthood. But like Lathan said, he was getting dropped off at the ER as a child. So he had to, you know, fight for himself and, you know, defend for himself and be boisterous about his character. For me, I didn't get that. When I was in pain crisis as a kid, I'm talking about crying, tears, screaming. I can't talk to nobody. I don't even want to talk. I can't even open my mouth to articulate how much pain I'm in. You could just see it on my face, balled up, tensed up, in the wheelchair, getting wheeled in. This kid screaming, crying. Something ain't right with him. So I think as a child, I never learned how to relax when it came to my sickle cell crisis. When the pain hits you and it's so intense, naturally we tense up, and that's when the crisis becomes so much more worse because the blood cells ain't flowing how they need to. We all tensed up, you know. It's just so much pain going on, but it's at them moments to where you have to learn that, man. We never was taught this as a kid, so I wish as a kid we was taught how to breathe and take deep breaths and, you know what I'm saying, relax yourself. Even as a child, when people are telling you this, the pain that you're experiencing is so much at that point. When you're at a level 10 crisis, deep breaths and all of that stuff is very helpful, but it goes in one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? When you're in that mode and people don't understand it, man, so you have to fight for yourself naturally and defend for yourself, but it definitely plays a part on the mental, man. Me being a child, being traumatized, not even wanting to go to sleep, knowing that I would wake up in a crisis. Those are just things that kids, young kids, definitely shouldn't have to fear for going to sleep. We need as much rest as we can get, and I was never able to grant it that, even to this day, man. You know, insomnia with sickle cell is so real, man.
Wow.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
missed.
Yeah, I used to get frustrated when people would be like, "Otmar, breathe," and I'm just like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
For sure.
Yeah, real pain, man. Yeah.
It's you know, it's one of those things that, you know, it also depends on where it hits, right? Like if it hits me like in my elbows or my wrists, you know, I can kind of function a little bit better than I can if it's in my chest, right? You know, and or if it's in my back, you know, I can't walk. I
Right.
can't. There's no way I can walk if it's in my back, you know. So it just depends on where it hits, and I think that if professionals would, and there are some, you know, it is changing. The perspective is changing. It's not as fast as I personally would like, but that's what we have on the air sickle for, right? That's what we have these sickle cell education and platforms and stuff like that. But if the professionals, if the doctors could just understand, you know, hey, listen, when this pain hits, it's not giving up, you know. So we need attention immediately if we're gonna get it. So I want to talk to Amari real quick. Amari, I want to know from you, brother. Tell us about, if you can remember, the worst pain that you felt. Describe where it was, how it happened, what you were doing, and how you came out of it.
Oh, that's easy. Sure, I had a lot of worst pains, but whenever my worst pain hits is usually in my back. And I can feel it like in my back chest area. Oh man. And like usually I'm blessed that whenever the ER sees me, they know, okay, it's serious. So usually I'd say 7 times out of 10, they put me back immediately. And then they try to, if they can catch a vein, they, you know, give me what they can. But like Demetrius said, AR, it took me a while to learn that the more you tense up and the more you get rigid is the worse it gets. So over time, I've had to practice breath work and like relax, and just, you know, as hard as that is when you're having the most intense pain that you can ever imagine, it's crucial, it's important because it does help a lot. So that helps me a lot. And I just try to just, you know, focus in my mind and just try to stay as positive as I can. But usually it's in my back area.
Yeah. Gotcha. Lathan, what about you, bro? What's your worst pain that you ever felt, and what happened? You know, how'd you get out of it?
Worst pain I ever felt. This was for sure my fault. I was like 22, 23. I was drinking, got too dehydrated, and first you get that small little spark of pain in your back. Feels like just a small spark, like a small sharp pain. And I'm assuming, you know, okay, I gotta drink water, my kidneys are hurting, they're going through it or whatever. And then that flame just gets bigger and bigger, you know, over a matter of minutes, hours. Man. And I remember I had a roommate at the time, my boy. I come trying to drag myself out the room to have him take me to the hospital. And that was, you know, that back pain is different. Like Omari said, that I don't know what it is, but I remember all of my crisis in my back like it was yesterday, and that was one of them. And there was no playing with me when I went to the ER. They took me right back. Might have been the best treatment I got, because if I'm irate, then it's bad. And I was blacking out, irate, all that.
Yeah. What about you, Demetrius? What was the worst pain you felt, bro?
Prior prison.
Oh man, talk about it, bro.
Battle with prior prison.
Hold on. Because I did a show on prior prison. Talk about what it is, because we got to get real. Talk about what it is and why that hurt.
Priapism is a painful erection in the male penis area, and it's due to no sexual arousal. It's literally because sickle cell, the blood's not flowing how it needs to, and it gets constricted in the penis area, and it just stays erect like that. So, man, since 15, it started off stuttering priapism. It was intermittent. It was coming and going. It would come for like a month, It would leave and wouldn't come back for like another 3-4 months. And it was playing like that, my whole from 15 to 17, it did like that. So when I turned 17, I moved to Atlanta, and I didn't have priapism for like a year. But then once I got into college, it got real bad for me, man. So it turned from stuttering priapism to ischemic priapism. That was like I had issues now. So now I need to consult with urologists and all of that good stuff. But at 15, I'm gonna take a little step backwards. At 15, my priapism was so bad that they transferred me from pediatrics to adult care at 15 years old.
Wow.
So I had to transfer. Literally, I was wheeled from the pediatric bed in my pediatric room with all the fishes on the wall and all the nice colors and graphics to the adult care because my penis was standing straight like this. 36 hours, man. 36 hours was the longest time it was erected, man. I remember feeling like I didn't even want to, like, when priapism got took it on its worst note for me, I felt like I didn't even care to live. I never slept. I was never able to get no sleep. I'm talking about, man, the smallest things. I'm driving, erection. Be at the grocery store. No, just nothing. No thought, nothing. Just erection. Like, literally, I had the worst blood flow in my penis area. So, man, that was the worst crisis for me. I had 2 penile prostheses. I was 27 when I got my first surgery on my penis. And, man, it was a lot. And when I was young, I was never able to go online and look up anything on priapism. I was never able to see no men with sickle cell battling priapism. There was no education. So when I went through this, I put a documentary together when I was getting my surgeries and all of that done, because I went to film school at the Art Institute of Atlanta, and I documented everything that went on with my priapism, and I wanted to showcase it. It's very vulgar. It's very like right in your face and letting you know everything that I went through. I definitely didn't sugarcoat it, and I feel like it was necessary because that educational part of priapism is missing. And I didn't ask to be, I didn't ask to do this. It was all in the plan. It was the purpose. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through this to be able to showcase this so I can help other people, young men with sickle cell that battle with the same issues, that's not boisterous, that don't have any type of insight, their doctors aren't educating them. That was my issue too. My doctors never was educating me on this. So I was just battling it, going through it, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse. So, man, I created what's called Save the Male Trunks, and it's education around priapism, teaching you what priapism is and how to manage it when you get it, so you don't have to go to these extensive treatments like I did and have to get surgeries and stuff. So, yeah, man, that's my mission and my cause, because priapism was the worst crisis that I ever felt in my life, bro.
Yeah. And I just want to note that all 4 of us just like nodded our heads like
Serious.
yes.
That's a fact.
Yeah, no, that's right.
For the longest time, I thought that was normal. I thought, oh, this is part of puberty.
I
didn't know this was an issue.
Me too.
And no one ever educated me on that. So I'm like, oh, this is puberty. And it wasn't until, like he said, like I had a long erection that didn't go away, and I'm like, oh, this is a problem. This is for real.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to the ER, and I saw a urologist, and he was like, oh no, we have to have surgery. I was 17 years old, and I was so scared the erection went down. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. We gotta go. I'm good. But he was like, nah. He's like, nah, it's gonna come back. We're having surgery. And but yeah, for the longest, no one ever told me about it. No one ever warned me about it. Like, I just thought that was normal. So there's anyone who's out there who's dealing with that, please check out AR's documentary. It's real. It's raw, like he said, but it's real. And it will help you out if you're going through that.
Yeah.
And you know the thing, I don't mean to cut you off, dude. I just want to say this. The thing the most, man, that got me was I was young, and like Amari said, I was just like, yo, this thing working all the time. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like when you in 17, 18, 19 era, man, we young men, that's when we real active. And I was very sexually active at that time. So I'm like, this thing always this thing always at attention. Let me use it. You know what I'm saying? So every time I had priapism episodes, I would use it, you know what I'm saying, to make it go down. But I was doing it all wrong. That was making it worse. You know what I'm saying? Because I had no education. I'm thinking, hey man, this thing up and ready. Hey baby, let's get it. So naturally, I was always hurting myself instead of helping myself because I didn't have the education. And now I make sure the young men understand, listen, if you're having a priapism episode and you think, oh man, let me just get my rocks off real quick and it'll go down, please don't do that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to make it worse. And priapism is a serious thing. I know we all talked about having, back pain and, our joints and everything hurting, but priapism can lead to male infertility and male erectile dysfunction, man. You'll be able to not use your manhood and produce kids and all of that if you don't get your priapism on track, man. See a real urologist that can help.
Yeah. No, I like the fact that you ironed that out. I remember when I had my first experience with priapism, and I remember when I had the first experience to get it drained. Those two experiences, the confusion of, there's no girls around. Why am I solid? And then the fear that I had once I learned the procedure of how to remove it, I was just like, numb what? What do you mean? So I was just, I remember both of those experiences, and it can be scary. It could be, you don't know what's going on with you. You think you know your body, and you really, you're experiencing something that's just abnormal. I saw on one of the sickle cell pages that I follow, there was a kid 6 years old with priapism. I didn't know that you could get it that young.
Early as 5. It starts as early as 5, man, and it's literally
That's
because
crazy.
The cells, man, how the cells maneuver throughout the body. It causes venous occlusion, which stops the flow of the blood, and that's wherever the cells sickle, that's where you're going to have issues. And for men, it can start in the penis areas as early as 4 years old.
Yeah. Now, Lathan, I want to talk to you, brother. What's some things that, like, now in your adulthood, or what was the shift? That's what I want to ask. What was the shift from your mindset as a child to an adult that says, okay, this is how I'm gonna, handle this illness moving forward? What was that shift? What happened to make you get there?
Man. So I was, playing football throughout my life, all that stuff. My sophomore year, I was pushing myself towards a stroke. So, my doctor, my mom, all that stuff, my coach, they sat me down and they said, you're going to have to chill on the football. Things got worse after that. I'm going to the hospital more. Going to the ER felt like every 2 weeks. It was getting really, really bad. And then my counselor calls me to the office, and there's a classmate, my dog Tanisha. She was pregnant, or just recently gave birth to a child with SS. Now, in our high school, there was 4 other warriors, but they didn't want to be known at all. Like, they were really quiet. And by that time, everyone knew I had sickle cell. So my counselor asked if I can just, tell her how it's going to be with that child. So I did that for a minute, and that maybe at 6 months, that child had his first crisis. And that was my first time actually seeing a crisis, another warrior go through a crisis. It wasn't with my aunt, rest in peace. I had no context. I didn't know what I was looking at. I felt it, all that, but I didn't I didn't have enough life experience to see what I was looking at yet. But at 17, and I'm watching a 6-month-old go through a crisis, that changed, that pushed me in a much different direction. And that was, that gave me a purpose again, an identity, and definitely changed my trajectory. So living as an adult, what I learned from that situation, what I learned from taking that loss, which at the time I thought was a huge loss, and things, still fell apart a few times after that. Don't get me wrong, but from that moment, I had a purpose. I had like Demetrius says, we all advocates, and it took me that to understand that that's what I was.
Yeah.
And that getting back on that path, not letting ambition ruin my body like I was doing, is what got me here.
Gotcha. I'm all right. What about you, man? What was your shift? What was that pivotal moment for you that was like, I got to start sticking up for myself and doing things different?
So for a long time, I played with sickle cell. I took it. I didn't take it as seriously as I should have. I thank God that my mom's a nurse. So when I was a younger, she knew what to do as far as how I should eat, stay hydrated, stuff like that. But I played with it. I ate a lot of junk food. There was literally a time where I ate fast food literally every single day for years, like years. And I just played with it. Like in my young 20s, I would go out drinking all the time. And once, I would get on my health kick, I would juice, but then I would play with it. It wasn't until I was in my 20s and I had to have a hip replacement. I was like, oh, this is real. Okay, let me stop.
Yeah.
Let me stop playing around with this. So I decided to change my diet, take care of myself the way I was supposed to. And a lot of that is self-worth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if deep down, subconsciously, I may have had a hate for myself because I had sickle cell or whatnot. I don't know. But a lot of it, I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have. But once that happened, once I had to get a hip replacement in my 20s, I was like, okay, this is just going to get worse from here if I don't take this seriously. Sickle cell is always fighting. It's always fighting. It's always battling you. So you got to push back. And if you don't push back, it will have its way. It'll do whatever you let it do. So I had to become a big proponent of juicing. I had to study the body. I would look up people like Dr. Sabi and what other people who had sickle cell or just any type of autoimmune disease, what they did. And I would basically experiment on myself. Okay, this is good for me. This is working. This is not working. Cut out the things that weren't working and increase the things that were. So once I did that, my life completely changed. I noticed the amount of hospital visits went down. The pain went down. So it helped a lot.
Yeah, so I want to talk to the audience real quick. I want y'all to know that, like, these questions, like I said, they have no idea what I'm going to ask them, but all of these questions have been segueing themselves into one another. And I just think this is so beautiful because I want to go to Demetrius real quick. Demetrius, you said earlier you're a chef. I know a week back you did a demonstration for us, on your juice and everything like that. Talk about, how you got into, nutrition, cooking foods that benefited sickle cell. Talk to us a little bit about your business, what you got going on with that.
Absolutely, man. Rest in peace to my brother Patrick Gordon Jr. Rasta. He was the one. He was from Jamaica, man. Like Lathan said, when I met Rasta, I accidentally walked into his room at the hospital. But when I seen another person that was living and battling with sickle cell, like I never had a sickle cell friend. You know what I'm saying? Like I never had like a relationship, like a homie that's my sickle cell homie. You know what I'm saying? But when I met Patrick, he is from Jamaica. He changed my whole perspective on life. 7 years older than me, but everything that I had went through in Atlanta with my sickle cell, everything that I battled with, he was going through in his adult life. You know what I'm saying? And he had a stroke when he was younger. So being from Jamaica and just having a background on herbs and, you know, natural foods and stuff to help. When he took me out there, he really changed my perspective on how I need to eat and my diet and incorporating natural herbs that's going to boost my immune system and all of that. So I really got serious about naturally taking care of myself because I was getting a blood transfusion, man. Man, I was getting so many blood transfusions, bro. It was almost like I was that was my remedy. Like, oh, I need a blood transfusion. This is gonna get me back right. Never understanding that when you get so many blood transfusions that you build up antibodies and you start to have iron overload. So the blood transfusion is not the solution. The treatment for sickle cell is very unhealthy. So I had to start learning how can I naturally boost up my hemoglobin and through my blood since I'm going to the hospital and getting all these blood transfusions. I learned about beets. I never ate beets when I was a kid. Like we ate packaged food and canned goods. You know what I'm saying? Like Omari, we was eating fast food thinking it was real food. Um, so when I learned about beets and the benefits of beets, I started juicing beets and making beet smoothies since 2015. I started making beet smoothies, but I was playing with it. Like Amari said, you learn something and you really, you know, you incorporate it, but you don't really go full force with it. It wasn't until I had to have the surgeries for priapism and really start changing up my trajectory on how I needed. I had 25 units of blood during that process. And after that, it was so hard for me to even get a regular blood transfusion. It was taking like 1 to 2 days to get a match for me, a cross match, because my antibodies were so out of whack and nobody's blood was, you know, matching mine. Man, I said, listen, I got to do something that's going to boost up my blood. So beets. I looked up everything that was naturally helping with the blood and, you know, chlorophyll. I learned about chlorophyll and all of these things that's naturally helping the immune system and the blood to circulate naturally. And that's what I incorporated, man. So now I do stuff in the name of sickle cell. Everything that I do is for my body because it's for me. And, you know, it's a blessing that it's, you know, I can be able to project it to the people in the community that they can jump on board and use it too. So I'm learning healthy alternatives, and that's what it is. That's when I started incorporating, learning about, you know, being serious about how I eat and what I drink and all of that, because man, it's very necessary.
That's awesome. Thanks, bro. Listen, so our team during the show have been collecting questions, and now I want to go to our Q&A. This is a segment where we allow the audience to, you know, ask the question straight live on the air, you know, straight to the guest. So I want to go ahead and put our first question up. I'll let our team get situated so they can do their thing. What do we got in there? All right. If there are those who come from a one-parent home, did you feel the pressure to be the man of the house all the time, even while in pain? How has that shaped you into who you are today, positive or negative? So let's take it one at a time. We'll do the first one. If anybody that was in a single parent household, did it force you to be the man of the house, and how'd you respond to that?
I never had to be the man of the house. I just always stepped up naturally. I felt like with sickle cell, my mom and my parents always knew, listen, you need to go lay down. You're overexerting yourself. You're doing too much. I got it. So I never really felt pressure to step up or take care of this, that, and the third, because naturally I was doing that already. I would do that without being asked to do it, or even I'm not even the oldest of my siblings. I was the middle child, but naturally I was just always making sure I'm just a make sure the house is right, take care of the house first. Anyway, that's how I was raised.
I
Yeah,
think as a,
yeah. I
I
know.
think as a, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say, I think as a man, like that is inherent in you. No matter how old you are, like you know that you need to step up and and be that leader of the household. So just seeing like my mom busting her butt just for me to give me a better life, to her moving away from her family, absolutely I wanted to step up. Of course there were some limitations, when I would not feel my best, but and that could play on your masculinity a little bit for sure. um but I think that's a old antiquated thought of masculinity, that you have to be an alpha at all times. And so I learned to you know not not judge myself on society's thought of what masculinity is. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have to be strong at all times. You can't, show any weakness. Because obviously, as us having sickle cell, there are going to be down times for us. So, but yeah, I've for sure, as I was older, as I was younger, I definitely felt that pressure for sure. And I stepped up where I could. And when I needed to rest, I did that as well too.
Gotcha.
Like Omari and AR said, I think it's just a very natural thing. It was just me and my mom for a long time, and I think it's more just a natural thing to step up. My mom held no punches, regardless. I mean, she was a real one to the core. So I wasn't sheltered. Um, I was cooking for myself, managing the house myself, doing pretty much everything I could, and it did build. It did probably make me a little more headstrong than I should be. I was, I'm doing everything through a crisis, just making it worse. I'm running through walls for it in a crisis. Um, so I think, that is probably where it started, just always pushing forward. Um, but yeah, for sure, definitely felt that pressure.
Yeah, I know. For me, it's tough, man. It's tough because, especially when you are so used to working, and then now all of a sudden you can't work. Like that for me was what got me. I would argue down with the doctors and say, no, I need to be discharged so I can get back to work because I gotta pay bills. Like so for me, that was what the major strain was. In my case. All right, we got another question. As a man today, do you feel the societal pressure to just always keep going, quote unquote, even when you want to give up?
I got away from society and what society expects from me a long time ago. So I used to want to give up, but I understood my purpose. So I could never give up on myself. That was my main thing. Like I always had talks with myself, man. So just never give up. Even though it be days that I'll be like, listen, I don't feel like doing nothing, ain't answering the phone, I'm gonna stay in the bed all day. Um, my mindset was always, you're special, you're supernatural, you're strong, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Even the times where I felt like, man, I need to go to the hospital this week. I ain't all the way 100. My mindset was always, nah, man, they ain't gonna treat you right. Keep going. So naturally, I always had those talks with myself just to keep going. But that was always my mindset, because sickle cell would naturally deteriorate you and have you feel like, man, I don't want to. Hey, forget it. It is what it is. I got sickle cell. Um, Lathan, you said something that stuck with me, man. You said uh, you didn't let your ambition, you know what I'm saying, deteriorate. You didn't let your ambition determine your lifestyle, your sickness. Your ambition didn't get you into the crisis no more, because you understood that. And that's the mindset that you got to have with yourself. We all know our limitations at this age, We all know what we're capable of doing. So the fact of just having a mindset, man, I got to stay in the race, keep going, is a beautiful mindset to always have, man. Even when you're in pain, even when you're going through it, just never give up. Never give up on yourself.
Yeah, I've found, I've had those thoughts of wanting to give up. You know, I the constant I felt at one point that my life was surrounded by the sickle cell, instead of me, me taking control of my life. I felt like, if I wanted to go and do something, I wanted to go across the street. Nope, you got sickle cell. Don't do that. If I wanted to, go, over some friend's house, you got sickle. Like it almost dictated my life and even my education. Like it frustrated me so much. I don't know if it was necessarily society per se, but for me it was like I can't live my life, and that for me is like that's what has gotten me there. But then when I'm in these positions where, okay, now I'm in crisis and the paramedics are here and they're like, hey, sir, what's your name? And I'm like, stop, Mar, in pain. And I'm giving them my whole life story in pain. Like for me, like as I sit here and I reflect, like those are moments where I'm stronger than the pain, even though I'm in the pain. So for me, it was more so a matter of, this is what I'm going through, and I'm tired of just going through it. Yeah. Let's see. What are some things that brings you relief? What keeps you all strong?
Man.
Amari, why don't you take that one, bro?
Man, as far as physically, mentally, or
however you want to answer it.
Okay, I'll give you a little bit of both. Physically, man, like AR said, Beats is my best friend, man. Like I never thought I'd love Beats so much. It's literally a blood transfusion and a little pack powerhouse. So juicing always, like I take a little bit and I put it under my tongue and let it be sublingual and get into my bloodstream. I feel that bad boy immediately. So that brings me a lot of physical relief. As far as mentally, this one took a while, but a lot of empowering affirmations, not believing what the world says about me, forming my own identity, not having my identity wrapped up in only I am sickle cell. Like I'm much more than that. We all are much more than that. So mentally, that's what kept me strong, and just perspective, knowing that I'm not the only one on this journey. Like it's not, I used to be like, why me? But I'm not the only one dealing with this. You know what I mean? So just keeping perspective and knowing that, it may be hard, but there's a purpose in this. This was chosen for me for a reason, like this life. So what is it that I'm supposed to get out of it? Who am I supposed to help, inspire? Like, what am I supposed to use this for? Because I believe everyone in life has a cross to bear. We just got ours early. So what purpose is this sickle cell supposed to serve instead of having a victim mentality? So that has helped me on a mental level.
Yeah. Demetrius, you were gonna jump in, bro. Go ahead. What you got?
Hey, I love to hear Amari talk, man. That's my boy. He be hitting it on the head. Real talk, man. That's spot on, man. But physically, for me, when I'm in pain, what helps me is Epsom salt bath, man. Nice hot Epsom salt bath. Just getting that natural magnesium to get inside the bloodstream and help with the relaxing, the aching, the everything that you're going through in that moment. So hot Epsom salt baths have been my friend. That's what I go to when I feel like pain coming on. I know a crisis might be creeping up. That's the thing. But mentally, it's the music. It's always been the music, man. The sound therapy, the sound vibration, the testimonials through the music. Kurt Franklin, man. Kurt Franklin, Bob Marley. Yeah, just real music that always helped me. go through and get through. So I'm grateful for the music and prayer, man. Man, God, thank you so much. Man. Prayer, powerful.
Lathan,
For
what about
me,
you, bro?
I'm a shower dude. If I'm in a crisis, I'm in the shower for about 4 hours, just sitting there.
Wow.
I'm just chilling in there. So physically, that's what I run to. Mentally, I've never looked at sickle cell as a curse for me. It's always been I've appreciated what it's given, the values, the understandings, the empathy, the strength. I appreciate it, what I gained from it, and the fact that I admired my aunt who had it. Um, I understand that we come from a long line of people who fought this, and I take pride in sharing that with them. I take a lot of pride in descending from them. I always keep that in mind. You know, we come from a long line of just some strong people.
Yeah.
A lot of warriors have come through here.
Wow. I say for me, mentally, like Demetrius said, the music. I always say this, like I don't want to use this platform to preach, but I mean the truth is the truth. Like, I believe that when David played his harp, for the king, it relaxed him, right? So even when we're in our struggles, right, even when we are in our pain and we're suffering, put on that music, whatever gets you relaxed, calm, get yourself in that space. It's a powerful thing. Physically during the priapisms, bro. During the priapisms, I do like quick spurts of exercises, try to get that blood flow going, and then it works. I would say it works about 80% of the time, but yeah, I get that blood flow going and then it goes down. But when it doesn't, then yeah, I got to head to the emergency room just because I don't want to take the risk. So this question in here says, do you all take any prescription medication?
I don't.
I got a whole CVS pharmacy in my cabin. I mean,
we got all the medications, but to take them on a daily basis, I don't. If I'm in a real pain crisis, to save myself from going to the ER, I'll take a half of oxycodone, 30 milligrams. So I'll take that in half. That's 15 milligrams. And man, that's so much medicine for me. My body feels so different on that type of opioid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't take any type of pharmaceuticals or pain medications, not on a daily basis. I take all natural herbs and stuff.
Wow.
I do folic acid, but besides that, I'm straight CBD products, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Amari, what about you, bro?
Well, like AR said, we all got the meds, but taking
We all got them for sure.
It's another story. The only thing I really take is like folic acid when I remember. But the way I juice, I'm getting that stuff
Thanks
anyway.
for being honest, bro.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And whenever I have pain, I'll take my MS Contin oxycodone. I have a love-hate relationship with these pain meds because I used to be on so much of it and addicted to it, which a lot of people, that's another issue. But I only like to take that when, I need it to keep out of the hospital. So.
All right. Do you ever go through depressive states during the crisis?
Always.
I know I have. I'll take the lead on that one. I have. I mean, especially if I get admitted and then you in that room, bro, you in that room by yourself, it's quiet. I mean, I don't care how many people are in the hallways treating patients. For you, that space is just quiet and lonely. Like you could hear a pin drop, and it's almost an environment where you're exceptionally reflective of your life, reflective of the mistakes that you've made, the things that you've accomplished, wondering, is this going to be the last day that I'm here? For me, there has been moments in that hospital bed that I have had counseling sessions with myself, times of, regret and frustration and anger and why me, and and then there are other times where it's like, I'm not going through this for me, like, and I try to tell myself that, to try to convince myself sometimes, but I do believe it, that I'm going through this for someone else. I think Amari kind of touched on that. We were given this for a reason. We don't know what that reason is per se, but it's ours. So and when I say ours, not in the sense that we're taking ownership over it, as in this what I got and woe is me, but it's ours as in we have a responsibility now. We have a responsibility to take ownership over our health and what we do with it and how we share information and how we influence people. So yeah, for me, it can be depressive, but it's more reflective. How about y'all?
Extremely. Not only are you in torturous pain, I'm sleep deprived. I'm not sleeping at all, so that's making it worse. The pain medication it's making it almost unbearable, right? And I like to say, everyone a lot of people have like a sense of like being introspective and introspection and all that, but patients and prisoners they have the ability to go deep with their introspection and their reflection of themselves and talking to themselves. Like you said, OD, I didn't really know I knew myself leaving the hospital. Like there was no one else I could talk to in there. For sure. And you either come out feeling like you won a war, or you come out a lot wounded. Very wounded.
Yeah.
Man, for me, I know very depressing as well. Just in there knowing that I have so much to do, man, and I can't accomplish it, that I got to take all this time out of my life to handle my sickle cell crisis, man. It always puts me in a depressed state. When I'm in the hospital, I cry a lot. It's just heartbreaking, man. I'm very emotional, man, and I think that's a lot to do with the medicine and the whole treatment of sickle cell, man. It's just, I always say it like this: to be able to sleep in the hospital for 2 to 3 days is just like, that's not a place where you just want to go hang out. Like, I'm gonna be here for 3 days, 5 days. It's like this ain't no party. It's nothing like that. Like my boy Lathan said, we're sleep deprived. We got people coming in every hour on the hour, checking this, checking that, want to do vitals, waking you up when you're trying to rest. It's the hospital, man. The food ain't good, man. There's people in there that's doing stuff in a way that you have to advocate for yourself when you feel like these people need to know what you need to make you well. It's just so much going on that I feel like
it's a fight.
It was hospital naturally just stresses you out. From the ER to the admission, it's just, you got people in there that ain't really taking care of you the way that they ain't really passionate about health, and it shows, through conversation, through attitudes. And I'm a very loving person. So for me to be in that type of environment, getting treated how I'm treated, and folk ain't coming in, and I'm trying to make calls to doctors and ain't nobody really, it's very heartbreaking for me, and I do a lot of crying. So my main mission is to stay out of the hospital. I look at, Lathan just said, patients and prisoners. That's how I look at hospitals, as the prison. It's a government system, and it's not in our best interest. Like, I've learned that. The American healthcare system is not that. They're not trying to heal us. They don't have any desire to heal us up and send us on our way. They don't have any thought that this man has a business. He need to get on, let me be proactive in his care so he can handle his business and get out of here. They don't have that type of thought. You know why? Because they haven't spent time as a patient laying in that hospital and needing somebody to take care of them. So I always stay out of the hospital because it just tears me apart, man.
Wow. All right, let's see. What do we got? Any more questions, team? Do you feel more free today to really live life now than you know how that you know how to manage sickle cell?
Absolutely.
I feel like there's a lot more hope. Once I started to find out there were other people with sickle cell, they have like a sickle cell foundation and stuff like, and sickle cell, a thing that they do every year. I saw someone in their 80s living well with sickle cell, like being active and stuff. Once I saw other people, I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I never thought of my future until I saw other people, successful people being healthy with sickle cell. And once I saw that, I was like, okay, I could do this. Like, I can continue to manage this the right way. So there's definitely a lot more hope, more than ever, with me for sure.
Amen.
And with me, I definitely feel more free with sickle cell because I've understood my triggers and how to live well with the illness and the things that's helping me. So I definitely feel more free. I'm able to handle my business and conduct myself in a manner to where I'm able to be present. I still overexert myself naturally because I'm naturally so ambitious. I got so many goals that I want to achieve. And I felt like when I was a child through my teenage years, sickle cell really put a handicap on me because I wasn't able to thrive. And even when I was a child, man, I had big dreams and big goals, but sickle cell kept me in the hospital so much that they just was like thoughts. Now those thoughts are reality, and I'm able actually to handle my business and create music and advocate and do all the things that I love to do, man. So I definitely feel much free.
I could say the same. I definitely feel more free. I think I was telling Demetrius a few weeks ago just how blessed I feel that I'm able to just take chances and do what I want to do. I got a few jobs, I got a few tasks, I got a lot of roles, and I'm very blessed to be able to do all of them. There is a time where every job, every opportunity, I was just taking L's. I didn't know how to manage my disease. I didn't know how to manage my body, nothing. So everything was always falling apart due to my lack of understanding of my own body and my disease. Everything was falling apart. And now at 31, I'm in a place where I definitely still push myself. I put myself in some situations a few times because I work hard. But the fact that I'm able to manage not just one, but a few roles, I've never been more freer in my life.
Wow. That's
amazing. Keep going.
What are your thoughts on seeking therapy? Oh.
Now as an adult, I feel like therapy is like so needed. It is. As a child, I never had any counseling session. I never talked to a therapist. I never was able to express to anybody what I was going through and all of the trauma that I was going through. So I feel like now in my adulthood life, and it just depends on the therapy that you're seeking. Really, it really depends on the therapy. But I do believe that therapy is very beneficial for people. We need to talk, especially the people that's not articulate enough to be able to be boisterous and advocate You know what I'm saying? They need somebody to talk to where they can get this stuff out, because you'll hold it in, and you need to know that life is life. We all fall short, and we all have issues that we dealing with. But I think therapy is amazing, man. I encourage therapy.
I used to run away from therapy, like not run away, but I used to be like, no, I don't even see no therapist. Like, I still got to deal with the problem after I talk to them. What I got to see them for? But I second that, and I'm gonna be transparent. I'm in therapy now. It feels good to take time to just talk to someone and get it all out. I think that especially as men, you know, just as a human race, really, there's a lot of things, a lot of decisions that are made on a daily basis at any moment, and every decision I think affects the next. And I'm just so grateful for taking this leap to even launch this podcast. More importantly to me, here on Earth, I'm grateful for the decision that I made to marry my wife. And the reason why is because you know marriage is not easy. Uh, but you need somebody, especially if you got sickle cell, you need somebody that's going to be in your corner, who's going to be ready to, glove up, box the doctors if they need to, to make sure that you're good, and my wife has really done that for me. Um, but again, there are challenges. There are challenges to every situation. So every choice that you make, every place that you go could affect your body in a different way. Um, and if you do not respond appropriately in every decision that you make, especially as a warrior, you don't know where that's going to land you. So I think it's important. I think it's important to talk about it. Let's see what else we got. Production team is working. Can you travel?
I
Anybody
stay
travel?
out. What? I'll stay on the air, in the air, on the road. I'm traveling, baby. Absolutely.
I just got back from Utah 2 weeks ago. Hiked 3 national parks.
Let's go. Man, know
You
what
know
I'm
what I
talking
mean?
about, baby.
Crazy.
I've been to 7 national parks this year.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? I got the boost oxygen just in case. I got the water. I got the mineral water on deck.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go everywhere.
I feel you. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amari, what about you, bro?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a must. As long as I could carry a little ninja juicer with me, I'm good. I go wherever. Know my limitations when I'm there, what to do, what not to do, but absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's so peaceful in the air. I used to I after 9/11, and we're coming up on the end of that, but after 9/11, I was like, I ain't getting on nobody's plane. I don't care how much experience you got. I'm not getting on no one's plane. But my took me to go to Chicago for the first time, and I had always said I wasn't gonna go because the weather condition, my health, and everything like that. And I think I used it, unintentionally as a barrier, as a crutch. But to travel, to go there, to be in the Midwest, I think it's the Midwest. Just to be out of the DMV area, it just for me, it was just like, yo, I can't believe. I felt like I was walking on the moon. This is one small step for man. It feels so good to travel. That's why I love traveling. I love this question, and this is gonna be our last question. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your viewers? All right, so this is what I want us to do. I want my team, if you guys can hear them, I want to get each person the opportunity, the audience, So, guys, what I do normally at the end of my show is I give the guest the opportunity to just speak directly into the camera, give a message to the crowd. Let's because we've been so long, it's been such a powerful discussion. Let's limit our statement to at least a minute and a half if we can. What I'll do is production team, if we can have Amari go first, then Lathan, and then Demetrius, and then I'll come back on the scene.
So my piece of advice would be, please take this disease seriously, man. Like, as I said earlier, sickle cell is always fighting you, whether you're sleeping, awake, it's always going to continue. Those cells are sickle, so it's going to continue to fight you. Please take it seriously and take your diet seriously. Eat right, juice right, and don't play with this disease because it is very, very serious. So that would be my piece of advice.
My piece of advice would be to internalize and understand that sickle cell is what you have, but it's not who you are. When you are in those hospitals and you hear the word sickler, understand that that is not what you are. That is what you have. There's going to be names. There's going to be pressures that are going to try to put that on you. But always keep in mind that it's what you have. Your identity is your identity. Maintain that and keep it strong.
My advice would be to live well with this sickle cell and learn your traits, your triggers, learn how to manage it to the best of your ability, and study sickle cell so you know how it's going to operate inside your body, and be proactive in your care. Be your own doctor, man. Study sickle cell. Yeah, that's my advice to you. Live well with this illness because you deserve it.
Guys, I just want to say, man, it's been such an important discussion to talk about this. Mental health, dealing with sickle cell, the battle of the disease. They call us warriors for a reason, right? Not everyone can handle what we go through, and I just feel like this was so powerful, so needed, and for it to be the finale, for it to be the finale of season 1, I just want you all to know I appreciate you, everything that you said, your transparency, your vulnerability, and your advice to the crowd has been just so phenomenal, and there's not enough words that I can say about it, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to On the Air Sickled. You got Demetrius, AR the Prophet, you got Lathan Singleton, Amari Saunders. You've been listening to On the Air Sickled. I'm going to have you guys go in the back to the green room. Don't log out. I'll catch up with you afterwards. Hey, y'all. So, as you have seen, 3 gentlemen dealing with sickle cell, different perspectives. The way they do life, man, is just so incredible. And I want this platform to give hope, right? I want to be real. I want you to be able to see what the patient goes through, but I also want to be able to tell the story. So if you think that you have a story that needs to be shared on the air, you can simply go to our website. Before we get there, I want you all to know that you can also hear every episode of On the Air Sickled on our social media platforms. Join the On the Air Sickled Facebook group. You can catch us on Spotify and YouTube, as well as our TikTok pages. And then just share my story link on the website. You just simply go to www.ontheairsickle.com. You can hit the tab up top. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what your story is, why you want to share. We want to get your story live on the air. And we can't do this without sharing our vision, right? So here's this quote that I have, share the vision, support the mission. And the vision is that we air the good, the bad, the ugly in the name of awareness and advocacy. But the mission is threefold. First and foremost, I want to be able to continue on the air sickle with the entire community, whether you have sickle cell or not, whether you're Black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter your cultural background. I want to be able to share this podcast with the world. People need to know more about sickle cell, and I don't think that there's enough information that's out there. Number two, for the mission, our goal is to support sickle cell research in the best way that we can. So I'll get to how you can donate and give on the air sickled so that we can help to support that. That is through our PayPal at On the Air Sickled OD. Any gift that you can to donate to our organization is greatly appreciated. Like I said, it goes to our mission here for On the Air Sickled. And then the last component of the mission is our Flip the Bill campaign. Our treatments that we in the hospital are expensive, and not everybody has the means to be able to afford them. So our goal, our hope is that, for a family that might be struggling, we want to help to support them financially if we can. The other component of the Flip the Bill is for those award seeking education opportunity. When we go, this might take us out for a little while and we're not able to complete our courses like we had hoped to. So if we could help support a student that's going to school, maybe buy their books or pay for a semester or anything like that, we want to be able to do that. So all of this is an effort to give back to the community. And so I want you all to know that you can go to PayPal at On the Air Sickled OD, give any amount. That's what your money is going towards. It's not necessarily for me per se. It's about the community, right? And so I need everyone to understand that wholeheartedly. Listen, you guys have been listening to On the Air Sickled. I'm your host, OD. Until next season, I'll see you all later. Stay strong.
Hey y'all, this is OD from On the Air Sickled. Have you been enjoying On the Air Sickled lately? Want to get your story on the air like these people? Check out our new On the Air Sickled website, where you can share your story live on the air.